It is a huge week here at 30 Rock. NBC is celebrating 50 years of Saturday Night Live. Now, on Friday, the show's incredible roster of musical guests are going to be celebrated by a star-studded concert featuring past performers. Ahead of that, our own Joe Fryer sat down with the first ever SNL musical guest, Janis Ian. Here's that conversation.
That first night, what was the energy like in Studio 8H?
People were really, really nervous. Everybody but the crew and the performers. All of the not ready for primetime people were well named at that moment. The humor was great, and it was a lot of off the cuff, which was great.
What, if anything, did you know about this brand new show called Saturday Night when you agreed to perform on the very first show?
I knew that everybody there was going to freak out because most of them had never done live TV. I knew that George and Billy and I would be okay, George Carlin and Billy Preston and I, because we had grown up doing live TV. And I was told I would know a lot of the camera people. The only other thing I knew was that it was important enough for CBS Records to fly me from LA in a private plane to make sure that I could be on the show.
Were you nervous at all?
I wasn't nervous because I had been doing this since I was 14, and I had done an awful lot of TV. So it was just another show. I think that the show's success I know that the show's success took everyone by surprise.
How do you define the show's legacy, especially early on when you were a part of it?
I think that it was extremely cutting edge, especially for its time. They took a lot of chances. You have to think about that year. That was an amazing year. I mean, Betamax was developed. VCRs were starting to be developed. Apple started, or the Apple One. Vietnam ended. Finally, we found out what Nixon was doing. Microsoft began. Keith Jarrett did the Cone concert, which to me was more important than all of that stuff. I went to see a chorus line. It was like being in the Renaissance, and it was amazing and wonderful.
In a way, was SNL just one of the many things that define this turning point you're describing?
SNL was really brave, and it takes a lot of heart to be brave. Those players, I think especially of Gilda Radner, who was, in my mind, fearless in her comedy. Brave writers, and brave of Lauren to encourage that.
You have a documentary about your life coming out later this year, which features many chapters in your life. How does this one night, this one performance play into the story of your life?
You know, I'm 73 years old. So to be still talked about in my industry, let alone in the world, at 73, having started 60 years ago, it's ridiculously amazing. And I think Saturday Night Live has been a big part of that. The constant attention, the fact that people still remember that at 17 and Billy Preston's song were the first songs on it, that it was meant to have more music in it and to be a more musically inclined show, that it was the first time a lot of us ever got the chance to see the counterculture. If you were living in Jackson, Mississippi, you didn't see people like me very often, but there I was. I think that legacy is what's important. It's a strange feeling to know that you are part of so many people's history, and they're people you don't even know. That's amazing and wonderful and strange.
And part of Americana. Joe Fryer, thank you. As we mentioned, this Friday, SNL 50 will host a homecoming concert with a showcase of performances from musical guests, including Jack White and Post Malone. You can stream all of it on Peacock at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.